Glasgow Scotty's football coach Jeff Garmon in here. Got some changes for your program this year. Obviously, you graduated a pretty good senior class last year. Specifically, some linemen who started along. A lot of them started 3 years for you, didn't they?
They did.
So, I mean, you've got some changes there. You're going to have a new quarterback, although that's going to be an interesting situation whenever the season rolls around. So we'll talk about that. But also, you have some changes on your staff. So let's really start with your staff because your guy who was your offensive coordinator, I guess the last couple of years, John Myers, I think that was technically his role, wasn't it?
It was.
He's the head coach at Barron County now, so you guys will have some familiarity when you play each other this year. But you also have some younger guys that have been working either, I guess, in your JV program or maybe down in the middle school program who are up there and getting a chance to learn and, I guess, wear the big shoes these days. Is that right?
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about some of your staff changes there first.
Well, I mean, with John leaving and going to Barron County, you know, what we internally did, we just kept what we had there. Mm-hmm. We've had three guys, Cameron Garmon, Tyler Hughes, Randall Parmley. All three have been coaching at the high school and the middle school. Mm-hmm. So those guys would practice middle school in the morning, come to the high school practice in the afternoon. They went to every high school game, went to every JV game, went to every middle school game, and those guys had paid their dues. And we will have them now full time just at the high school. Yeah. And that's the duties. I mean, as far as a coordinator coming and going, you know, this will be now the fourth different person in 8 right. years that I've had doing this. So, you know, I started off with Will Barnes, then it went to James McReynolds. He was there a couple of years. John was there a couple of years. So it's nothing, I don't want to say it's nothing new, but it's something that you deal with and you just move on. I mean, coaches and assistant coaches are hard to find these days. And it's not a lot of pay. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of being critiqued in what you do for very little money. But we're happy with the guys we got there. You know, Coach Buford, Stephen, has been here the last 7 or 8 years, so he stays on, and we just continue to move forward.
Well, and so with the change, specifically, I guess, new offensive changes, I mean, I'm guessing that means you guys are going to be trying out a new offense this year.
Well, I mean, we will continue to do what we've done in the past, and I mean, the spread part of the game will be the same. Some of the other areas will change in how we going to attack our running game. We might not be as much wing T, so we might go back more to a traditional I like we have at Glasgow for a lot of years. So, you know, that's still to give or take. We're playing that through, but the big thing is, you know, I'm happy with the guys we got there. They want to be there. That they're excited about being there, and they're getting a great opportunity. All three of them will be the new additions. Well, I wouldn't call them new additions. The new roles that they've taken on, it'll be new opportunities for them, and they're excited for that.
Yeah. Going back to the offensive line, I know you've got a lot of good skill players returning, even though you had a good senior class. But let's talk about that offensive line because you've replaced, I think, 2 guys are going to playing in college and off the line itself. And then you've got, you know, other guys who had impacts for you, played a lot for you. But let's talk about that. What is the process of trying to rebuild that offensive front?
Well, it's the same process as it was 3 years ago when these guys started. I heard the same scenario 3 years ago. What are you going to do when Tanner Bowles leaves, when Peyton Gibbons leaves, when Connor Taylor leaves? And when you're in a program, and I say it like Glasgow, and I don't mean it to be anything. Where traditionally we've had good teams. You know, you play for that senior class and for a lot of, and you hope that a lot of seniors are involved, and so that's what makes the core of your team. So when a big class like that graduates, people forget about these other kids because they just haven't had opportunities. Yeah. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for new kids to get opportunities, and that were playing behind some pretty good players last year. And any other year they may have been playing, but it just so played out that we had 5 seniors across the board. And But we've heard this story before. I mean, in the sense of you mentioned earlier that of those seniors, a lot of them started as sophomores.
Right.
Well, they only started as sophomores because we had a very, very small senior class that year, and now it starts moving forward.
Yeah, John?
Well, you start in about a week and a half, I guess, so it's pretty close to gearing it up for real. Tell us about your first scrimmage? I think you scrimmaged Davies County last Thursday. Is that correct?
We scrimmaged last Thursday.
Were you overall pretty pleased with the results and so forth?
I was pleased. I was pleased with how the kids played. We were able to run the football. We were able to throw the football. Offensively, we moved the ball. We did it in a 10-play format. So we went about 30 plays on offense, 30 plays on defense, and I was happy with the results. It was going into it when you've got some inexperience, you want to see how kids respond. And
scrimmages sometimes are more important when you're kind of got inexperienced people.
It is at times. It really is. And these kids get an opportunity to go out there and compete and to kind of get some of the nervousness and stuff out of their system. But even guys that we have back from last year, they will be in a different role this year than they were last year. So, this is what I find interesting about coaching, and what I enjoy about coaching is you get to take a new group and see what they can do and see what they got, and you figure out what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and you play to it. And that kind of goes from year to year. But sometimes it's refreshing to kind of just start. I don't want to say over from scratch, but also just to get new opportunities and new people. And I just that's refreshing to me, is to sit back and watch kids and watch them develop and watch them grow and watch them mature.
Well, and I guess as coaches, that's part of it. You've put people in your program, and you want to see as they, what they do to get better, and then how that affects your program. And I'm guessing it's pretty rewarding when you see guys put in that effort and then they step out there on the field and perform.
And it's just like coaching. I mean, everybody got an opportunity at some time to be a coach, and you got better as the more you did it, and the longer you go, and you learn from experiences. These boys are the same way.
Yeah,
they just got to get an opportunity, and they get out there and they play hard and do what you ask them to do, and at the end of the day, that's all you can ask. But I've enjoyed myself this summer. I've enjoyed watching these other guys get out there and coach, and they're working hard and they're really into it, and I also enjoy watching these guys, and now they're in different roles, and some of the guys that were sophomores last year, all these skilled kids we got were sophomores last year, and kind of took a little bit of a back seat to some of the older kids. Now they're pushed up, and now they're the leaders of the team, and watching them, how they handle themselves, how they go out, perform when you get a scrimmage situation, and good to say that those kids responded the other night and played really well.
Well, let's talk about the quarterback situation, because you lost your quarterback from the last couple of years, and really 3 years, because he even started some as a freshman, Easton Jesse. But it's because he's now in Adair County, and I'm guessing he'll be over there starting for them.
I assume so. I don't know that. I haven't talked to anybody from Adair County.
I haven't either, but it'd be surprising if he's not.
Me too.
And then they have Stonebreaker over there as their coach, and then, of course, his son's a really good wide receiver, so it's a pretty good matchup. And then there's the added bonus there in the district with you.
They are. They are.
So you get to see your former quarterback probably playing over at Adair County, but you had a guy coming up behind him, and maybe a couple. I know Hudson Gum was the backup last year. I think he'll be a junior this year. So maybe he got enough reps the last couple of years once he decided to start playing football.
Well, he got a lot. He quarterbacked all the JV games, and we liked what we saw. And, and even when Easton came to me and told me that he was leaving to go to Adair County, I looked at it as, Easton had been here for 4 years.
Right.
He took that fifth year, and in Easton, I felt appreciative of what he had done for us here at Glasgow. But I also felt a sense of it's an opportunity for Hudson, and for Hudson having to wait till his senior year. Now it kind of moves up a little bit. Hudson gets to take over his junior year, and just to watch him, how much better he's gotten the last 2 months is amazing to me. He's really plays well. He's a leader out there on the football field. The kids listen to him and respond to him. He's just got a knack to make some plays. He can do it with his legs. He can do it with his arm. And some of the things that we're doing with him's a little bit different than how we've done it the last few years. But he's done everything that we've asked him to do so far and done it pretty well.
Well, and he does have at least one big weapon out there with Jarek Martin, who has a lot of experience and is a tall, rangy, fast wide receiver. So, I mean, it's not like he's going to be throwing it to potatoes or anything out there.
That's right. We've got some good players. And along beside Jarek, I mean, we've got a sophomore, Jalen Bradley, that's his – for a sophomore, he's really good, and he's fast, and he's athletic, and he can make plays out in the open field. We've got some weapons out there on the outside, and we've got a good stable of running backs. You know, we also forget about a receiver who didn't get to play a lot last year, Kellen Stone, who can run and is fast. So we've got speed out there on the perimeter in the backfield. They can all catch the ball well, catch the ball out of the backfield. They do a lot of good things.
Yeah, John?
Talk about defensively, Coach. Were you, again, in the scrimmage, pleased with your defense and so forth?
I was really pleased. I mean, the first thing I want to see is can we establish stopping the run, and we were able to do that. I think our secondary's got a great opportunity to be really good. I mean, you've got Jarek Martin, Jalen Bradley,
a lot of those receivers,
Kellen Stone. They're coming over to play at the spots, and then our 2 outside. I call them safeties. We got a middle safety and 2 outside safeties. We've got a good rotation there of a lot of our running backs. So it's like we rotate 4 people into those spots, and we've got 4 corners that we feel happy with, that we can adjust to give Jarek or Jalen a break if we need to. But our core is we've got 3 linebackers across there that are good size. They're all 185, 190 pounds. They all bench over 300 pounds, and they're athletic and can run. And those 3 guys are Brady Geary, who's been injured the last 2 years, hasn't got an opportunity to play. It's great to see him out there. Trey Smith, who's a really good athlete, just physical, likes to strike people, and then Max Lee. Max has really improved from last year. Max is going to be more of an inside player this year than we played him a little bit more out on the perimeter last year, but he's going to be a more inside. And then we look at our defensive line, and we've got some size in the fact of you got Keaven Massey, who's back from last year. You've got a kid that's 6'3", 230 pounds, Xander Contreras. He's a big physical kid. And then we've got some different guys we can put in the middle. We've got a freshman, I mean, to be honest with you, that's about 225. If we want to go big, we can. He's about 6'4", 320 pounds. He's a big boy that can move a little bit too. And then we've got some other guys that we can do more that are a little bit smaller that can use their speed. So we've got some different looks, and the one thing with our defense this year is we've kind of, since I've been here, we've kind of played the same defense the last 14 years. It's what I ran when I was at Corbin all those years. It's what I knew. It's what I'm familiar with. We are changing up a little bit and running some different fronts with that. So it's a little bit different than where we're going with this. But, in the scrimmage of the night, you want to see if we can stop the run. The one mistake we made in the scrimmage was we over-pursued Daviess County's cut back against us. And, that's something you see early in the year. People are anxious getting after the football, and that happens. And so there was mistakes made that we need to correct. But overall, I mean, I was really pleased with what we're trying to do.
Is the defensive change because you feel like you got players you can plug in and play differently in different ways depending on what you want to try to accomplish?
It does. We've went to putting more skilled kids out on the defensive side of the ball. So that's one adjustment that I've made, and it's also it's one of these deals where we've done this long enough now where people kind of know how we're going to line up. And not that our defense has been – we will still play the defense that we've played the last 15 years. It might just be – it's going to be a different look where, we're going to change our front back and forth and try to make it a little more interesting. So, like when in our old defense the 3 technique always went to the weak side, and everybody knew that. Now it could change, and we play it kind of a different form where he's on the strong side. So it's going to be a little bit more of a multiple look out of that, but nothing, it's not nothing earth-shattering or anything like that. But
Right. You're not running the Bears 46 or anything.
No. I'm not smart enough to do that.
Your district is not that you can control your district, but your district was really good last year. Obviously, Hart County was like one play away from the state finals, I believe. And I know Adair is supposed to be really good. Franklin is Franklin. I think Butler County has a new coach from Todd Central. Is that right?
He is.
So your district will be a challenge.
It will, and last year it was a challenge,
Yep.
and I said going into it, a team could finish third in that district and be a really, really good football team. I think last year we went 9-3 and lost on a last-second play to Hart County, lost by a last possession of the game down to 3 minutes to go in the game at Hart County. The score's tied. So we lose 2 close games that way. And then I think the game with Franklin was like a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. And in that game, they had a defensive touchdown, stripped us and took it in. Yeah. So we're right there in every game.
Right.
We just didn't seal the deal. But it was I didn't take it as any shame in our game. I tip my hat to Hart County. They did a really good job. The coach Griffith did a really, really good job all year long keeping that together, and it's tough. It's hard, and Franklin's Franklin. They get the utmost respect from me because consistently year in and year out, Franklin is a good football team. But it's a tough district, and then with Hart County, Adair County coming back, they probably got a lot of kids back from last year. They lost a couple of good players, but they also, have an opportunity to step up this year, and it's kind of all starting to waver out just a little bit. I think we got one more year to kind of get through all this COVID stuff,
right,
where teams had opportunities for players to stay back. If you go back and look at the Hart County team, that whole team stayed back. Adair's picked up some fifth-year guys. Monroe County's going to go through a cycle. They had a whole class. It's going to be this year, next year. And it's kind of going to all even back out just a little bit. And you got to kind of take what you had and play with it and see where it goes. But, I like our chances. I know it's a tough district, but, to me, it's fun. I really had fun last year, even though, we lost 3 games and finished the year 9-3. And I know a lot of people maybe felt disappointed in that, but I also know there's a lot of teams that would take 9-3 and be tickled to death too. So, well,
real quick, before we're going to talk about your schedule, but I wanted to ask you about when they did the redistricting this past spring, because I thought you guys were going to wind up dropping back to 2A, so I was a little surprised you ended up staying in 3A. Because, Glasgow's traditionally been in 2A, and that last cycle you had to request to stay up in 3A. Were you surprised that your student population or male population kept you in 3A? I know that's where you wanted to be.
I think we were the smallest school in 3A. Yeah. When it got down to it, I think we are the smallest one. So, it is what it is. Last time you had an opportunity to play up if you choose to. We chose to, and we could have stayed and played in 2A, and nothing wrong with 2A. 2A is a very competitive, but we knew what was ahead of us, and we knew how it was going to be with Franklin coming into our district.
Yeah.
So, and how much tougher that makes it. But it is what it is. You play the games, and that's why they play them and keep score. And at the end, you hope you win more than you didn't. I mean, we've had some success in 2A. We've had success in 3A. So it's just it's one of those deals. It's kind of like the rules. I really can't. I don't worry about it because there ain't nothing I can control about it. So I just do what they say and move on.
Yeah. Well, on your schedule, you guys are playing LaRue County in your first game. That's going to be on the 23rd. But that game's now going to be played at the Elizabethtown Sports Complex, right?
Yes, it is. I think LaRue County's having their field redone. I think they're going to field turf, and I don't think it's going to be completed by the date. And I think the site that they chose to play their games at is the sports complex in E-Town. Never been there, so I mean I've heard it's really nice. So that's a good thing.
I think I read where that's going to be the first high school football game played on that field.
Very well could be. I don't know that. I didn't even know there was a field there. I thought it was all baseball and softball fields and stuff. So go figure.
Yeah. So it'll be an interesting thing. I've not been up there in a little while. They didn't have much in the way of stands, but they had a little hill people could sit on probably.
Well, good.
But when you look down your schedule, I mean, it's the same one you had last year. It's just flipped home and away. Of course, you got your usual teams that you like to play. Russellville, you get them at home this year. At Monroe County, home against Allen County, Scottsville. And then you'll play Barron over there. And then your district starts off with a dare on September 27th. What do you kind of think of that pre-district schedule? What do you think these teams will look like this year?
LaRue County is going to be a team that's going to be in our district next year.
Yes.
So that's going to be something that stays on our schedule. Don't know a lot about Russellville. We did some 7-on-7 stuff with them. They had good-looking guys, good-looking boys, so I look forward to that. Monroe County, I mean, they should be getting back to where they used to be. I mean, that whole class stayed back from that COVID year, so it's either going to be this year or next year. They're going to be a force to deal with. Allen County is it's a traditional game, and then the Barron County game, and it's kind of throw the score out, and both teams depends on who plays well that night.
Last year a barn burner.
It was a good game last year, and and hopefully it'll be another good game this year. But I think it's a competitive schedule. The Barron game is the game that people like to see. The Allen County, the Monroe County, Russellville, those are games we've been playing at Glasgow for the last 30 years. So, nothing out of the crazy there. And then you play the district game, and then the last game of the year is against Somerset, who is a team that made it out to if I'm not mistaken, the semi-state last year. And there's a good football team that we beat last year.
Yeah.
And they'll come down to our place, and the coach down there does a really, really good job. They're a good football team.
Yeah. John, you got any more questions for Coach
No,
Garmon?
just wish you the best. And like I said, do you have one more scrimmage?
We have one more scrimmage coming up this week, and it'll be played more like a game, and it's going to be more of a game situation. And, our starters our varsity guys will probably play about a half, maybe a little bit more, and then we'll finish it out with the younger guys, and then we tip it up and ready to go.
Happy with your kickers?
Happy with our kickers.
You always have good
got
kickers.
A good kicker.
You always have good
We've
kickers.
got a guy that kicked for us last year.
Yeah,
so
is Jared
he's coming
kicking for you
back.
again?
Jared will be back.
They can win you a lot of games,
And,
close games.
And he's steady. It's a little different with Jared, where he's more involved in soccer.
Yeah.
So getting him there at the exact same time as everyone else is a little more difficult, but it's something you deal with. He's a really good kicker, and he's kicked well this summer. He looks better than where he was last year at this time. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah, he's like the boys' soccer team leading scorer, so they kind of need him too.
Yeah. As long as they leave Friday nights open, that'll be all right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Coach Garmon, for joining us
Thank you.
talking
I
about the
appreciate
Glasgow Scotties, and we look forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.